Welcome to Married with Gaming. I'm Jen. He's Mike. Let's roll some dice.
Welcome back to Married with Gaming. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jen. And today we're going to do an adventure recap for our home OSE game. Well, I'm going to do a recap, and he's going to do a commentary from the GM side. So I'm going to do the player side. Well, we have the characters Keleth and Cindra, who are a young married couple out for adventure. Their last name is the Whitebridge. That doesn't make sense. Their last name is Whitebridge, so I call the game the Whitebridges game. Anyway.
You want me to interject now? Fun fact?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, and I'm running the game, that the last name was that, because I'm like...
Because you only half listened
to... Because I'm just... Seems like you're getting attached. An unhealthy thing.
I always get attached to my characters, but, whatever happens, happens. So for our second adventure, we started out in the Dwarven Outpost City, where we've kind of made our base. We spend a couple days resupplying, buying armor and weapons to replace what the baby rust monster in our first adventure destroyed, and making a plan. And so we had added Carson to our group last time, who was a little bit younger than us, and we kind of see him as a younger brother, and he's trying to make his way in this adventuring life as well.
And he's a thief.
Right. So he brings us this seal that he found, this green kind of seal or sigil kind of thing. So we do some research into it. It has a double-headed snake, right, on it. So we go to the town sage named Darren Ironfoot, and he tells us that he thinks this sigil represents a snake cult. And this sigil is like a double-headed snake on it. And that it's jade. So he says, well, I'm only a sage. I don't know that much. Go talk to the wizard. So we go to the wizard Andal. And he says that it's probably a specific symbol for someone, possibly a Yuan-Ti. So he consults a Glantrin mage.
Close enough.
I'm not sure how it's supposed to be. And that mage says that it looks to be a sigil of a specific serpent man named Shishimander, I guess. That's how we pronounce it. And that Shishimander was a powerful serpent man. We also find out that many of these sigils are from ages ago, before a war with the Titans. And at that time, the serpent man tribes were kind of everywhere. And this particular serpent man, Shishimander, was less interested in messing with humans and more interested in doing research. And it's speculated that he may have been trying to become a lich. So at that, we decide, okay, that's maybe above our pay grade. Yeah. We're going to go do something else. So we tell Carson, we'll put that one on hold. So then we go buy some heal potions, and we decide instead to go ahead and try to find the Temple of Myliki. Onik, who we met on the Elven airship on the way over, was heading that way. And so we thought, well, maybe he needs some help, and we know that temple is supposedly ruined.
And some of these were seeded earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like the other adventurers, NPCs, are kind of mimicking what another adventuring party would do.
Right.
In a sandbox where you include multiple parties, which may happen someday. Okay. So, yeah. But they didn't return, and so...
Right. They've been gone a little bit longer than it was anticipated. So we decide, well, let's go check on them and see what's going on with Onik. Maybe this will be a little bit safer for us. So pretty much immediately when we get past the city grounds or the outpost grounds, we see this giant lizard sunning on a rock. we decide to, it's a distance away from us, but it's huge and we can see it pretty clearly. So we decide to just non-threateningly continue on our way, and it does follow us for a while. After a while, we turn around and realize that it is, in fact, a basilisk, and he must have just already eaten or something, because...
And that kind of leads into the roll random encounter.
Mm-hmm.
How far is it from you? Use a different scale for the outdoors. It's far enough to be like, that's big. I don't want to be around it, so yeah, give it a wide berth. It did spot you, and it did find you somewhat interesting, but then lost interest into chasing you down.
Yeah, it stayed kind of a distance, and we turned around at one point to see its glowing white eyes in the distance, which freaked us out. So we, altered our path a little bit just to make sure we stayed clear of the basilisk. Then the rest of our trip out there was pretty uneventful until we got into the woods. We followed a worn out old path, and we found like a hunting blind and some crow feathered arrows occasionally, as well as like some the remains of some traps that were about a week old. So we kind of thought maybe we were on the right path.
And the standing stone.
And then we found an obelisk, a big white obelisk in the middle of the forest, and it looked to have Elven writing on it. Mm-hmm. So none of us read Elven. So Keleth, who is the one who is literate in our group, he copied down the writing so he could learn it eventually and hopefully recognize it in the future. But as near as we could figure, this was a signpost, or served as a signpost. So what we saw on the ground to the west was there were paths leading off each of the 4 directions, but to the west it looked like there was more recent disturbance, so we decided to take that path. Then eventually we find another obelisk. This one has a few more of those crow feathered arrows sticking out in the ground near it, or in some trees. And then we end up spending a night in a swampy clearing that smells really bad, but luckily nothing messes with us that night. The next day we come across what looks like a goblin scout. So he sees us, of course, and there's a short skirmish, and we kill it. But Carson gets an injury during that fight. So with a little injury. And then eventually we come up to the building. We see, as we're approaching, we can see that there are goblins outside, 2 goblins standing outside. So we decide to be stealthy, kind of stay hidden in the tree line and observe for a little bit before going in.
Right. And, all the different checks of move silent or spotting someone. Mm-hmm. We did all that fun stuff.
And we were lucky. No, they didn't see us. And then we decided our best bet would be for Keleth to go around one side and Carson to go around the other side. They're going to try to kind of shoot at the same time, each of them taking the goblin on their side. So we work out a signal, we get it all done, but both of them miss their shots. So it ends up being a little scuffle.
That's what happens. You shoot your shot.
That's true. Yeah. So after we kill them, finally, we can hear voices from inside the temple. We hear some elven voices, maybe, and then we also hear goblin voices and what sounds like wolves.
Yeah, and inside they didn't hear your fight outside because they were quite a ruckus trying to batter down a door to get at the besieged party.
Yeah.
What remained of them.
Yeah. So Carson peeks into the building stealthily, and he sees that there are 4
and
goblins.
He did get a little bit of a advantage to that, a little bit of percentage added because of the ruckus and them.
Because of them being distracted. So he's like, there are 4 goblins in there and some other creature in there. So we jump in and discover the other creature's a minotaur.
I can't believe my eyes. A minotaur.
So a little bit intimidating. We decide to go ahead and, fight. Carson goes down. Keleth gets bit by the minotaur. But eventually we kill 2 of the goblins and the minotaur. And then the other 2 goblins run off into another room.
Yeah, and even though some goblins had been killed, they didn't really break with their morale because basically they had a big cow man there.
Yeah,
so
right.
they kept fighting.
Yeah. And so as soon as the last 2 remaining goblins run off, we can hear wolves being more and more agitated.
Yeah, they did fail after Minotaur dies.
Yeah.
Time to go.
And then it ends up being the halfling Beckett who lets us in, and with him are Onik and Andrael, who were the 2 elves that we met on the sky ship. And both Onik and Andrael are injured, and we decide, okay, we kill another goblin, we share a healing potion, so everybody's healed up. Cindra, of course, got Carson up after he had gone down. And then we decide, okay, we'll work as a group to clear the rest of this temple.
And there wasn't a whole lot left that stuck around.
We kill some giant rats, we kill a few wolves and several goblins, and end up in like the main room where there's a statue with a fountain. And I think the water was
Brackish.
Yucky. Yeah, brackish
tainted.
And gross. And it was a statue of a unicorn, but the whole head was off.
Yeah.
And so that didn't sit well with me, with Cindra. So Cindra decides, to make an attempt to somehow affix the head back onto the statue. So when she puts it up there, it does like magically attach itself, and it transforms into this female elf who thanks us for restoring her temple. And when she transforms into the elf, the water like becomes clear and clean and perfect. And she tells us that we should drink her water to get a blessing, which we do. And Cindra and Andrel the fighter gain +1 AC for a month. Keleth heals fully. Carson gets +1 saves for a month, and Beckett and Onik gain a permanent hit point. And that is our blessings from Myliki. We find some treasure gems, 500 copper pieces, 200 silver pieces, some gold, 200 some gold pieces, a jeweled goblet, some potions, and a cloak. And we gather all that up, and the 6 of us head back to the outpost, and that is the end of the adventure.
Yep. And this adventure was adapted from The Cursed Fountain. It's a mini adventure written by Matthew Klein. It's I got it off Drive Through RPG years ago. I've used it before in other games. But his little company, Creation Edge Games, puts out a lot of these little mini modules. They're written for swords and sorcery, but since it's old school D&D-ish game, it works just fine for any of them. And so, yeah, I think I originally got it was $1. Now I think with, inflation, I think his modules go for like $1.50, but they're good for a good evening or two play.
Yeah.
And
that took us 2 game sessions.
Right, and I changed I changed the creature types, changed the god that was in there, changed a bunch of stuff up. But of course, that's what you should do. Tailor to your campaign.
It was fun.
So what did we learn? No.
We learned always fix broken statues because they might reward you.
But yeah, in like a blessing or something from the goddess there renewing your temple, that is treasure
Mhm.
of sort, but it's not monetary, so you kind of don't get XP and stuff for it, but it still builds you a stronger character.
Mhm.
Now, if you take more than a month downtime, it really doesn't matter. But
Right. We didn't. We didn't take more than a month's downtime. But that's a tale for another day. Anyway, so that was our
I'm just
recap.
being awkwardly quiet, so you have to do more editing.
Anyway, that was our recap. And until next time, keep gaming.